Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and I have got another treat to show off from the Dragon Trappers Lodge. They've been putting out army after army for the last few months, and I gotta say, I am loving every bit of it. They have continued to show just a lot of fun, interesting, variety, useful models that you can get a lot of bang for your buck with, and just I'm already having like stammering. I can't even get like the words out of my mouth. I've had that much fun, and I promised myself this time I'm just gonna stop printing so I can actually film it because there's just too much. We'll talk about a lot of it, and rather than show you pictures and stuff of their stuff myself, I'd rather you guys go and check their stuff out firsthand. So anyway, we're going to talk about the Simiax Legions today, and that is an army of enlightened primates. Notice I didn't say monkeys, it's primates. And we've got a couple of different varieties of primates, which makes it even more fun. But the Simiax Legions, we've got three major types. We've got the bobokai, which are like your chimpanzees. And I mean, you can see even with my poor printing job, just the details on this guy. There's a lot of interesting things going on. This is just a regular troop, of which there are quite a few varieties. You got guys with glaives, guys with clubs, guys with spears, guys with bow and arrows. There's a lot of stuff going on with the bobokai, and there's a bunch of different character models. A lot of interesting things, but I really like these poses. And one thing that I really also appreciated was the fact that we've got those thumbs on their feet, those opposable thumbs. So many times, and I'm not going to name names or point fingers, but I've seen on far too many releases from other companies that they don't bother getting the anatomy correct there. And these are quite bashful monkeys. They are wearing clothes, so you don't get the full view. They're also a good size. So as I said, this is one of the bobokai. I want to say it was the screamers. They're all yelling and, you know, carrying on. They're pretty good sized models. Obviously, he's leaping off of a rock here, but with a regular GW and one of the shark dudes from a previous release. You can see they're pretty comparable in terms of just, you know, human-sized figures for the most part. Much bigger than some of the other infantry models we've seen from Dragon Trappers Lodge in the past. There's been some interesting choices, I gotta say, but that's what I'm here for. I also printed off, I want to say this was a warlord. And again, the details, he's got like the bone through his bridge of his nose there. Severed heads of his rivals. He's got all kinds of ornamentation on his armor. A very elaborate spear there. Fun stuff. The beads on his hips. The bases are pretty cool too. And I know my prints, not the best, but I hope they do get the image across to you. Can I get him on his base again? Yes, we can. So like I said, I wanted to start printing, or filming, I should say, rather than continue on to the end of the month and then scramble to try to get something posted because I keep printing and printing and printing. So I figured now is as good a time as any. The next major army of the legions were the Gorkul, and the Gorkul are the gorillas. Now this is one of the leader units, and I love the fact that that helmet gives off a bit of a Urukai vibe. But like you can see again, even though I don't have the best print job, there's like really fancy ornamentation on his armor bits. Nice opposable thumbs there. Lots of skulls and bones hanging off him. And he's a good chunk taller than the chimpanzees as well, the bobokai. Sadly, I don't have any of their orangutan guys printed yet. The orangutans were more, I don't remember the name of them in the faction, but they're more like the priestly, wizardly types. Although there is a chimpanzee necromancer with a severed head on an altar of blood type deal. that's something you need. And as always, this is a full-scale army. This isn't just like, you know, a couple of infantry units and they're going to call it a day. No, in addition to having just as many unit types as the Bobokai, as the chimpanzees, for the gorillas, gorillas also have a couple of just big honking gorillas. They've got armored and unarmored. They've got winged and normal ones. And they even have access to a giant King Kong-like stone god, I believe he was called, that is decked out just like these guys. So if you need a giant King Kong-type monster simian for your tabletop, of which I am, admittedly, quite tempted. I want to try practicing on these guys before I go all in on the big stuff. But speaking of big stuff, you can't have an army without any kind of cavalry or anything, right? Well, when I saw that one of their releases was a set of platybelodons, this was literally the first thing. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta print this. Now, I don't even have all of his legs glued on. I mean, everything fit nice and smooth. Basically, it breaks down to 6 parts. We've got the head was a separate piece, the 4 legs, and the torso with tail attached. Everything was hollowed out. Everything was nice and smooth and easy to get off the print bed. I always like that. But what's crazy is they have armored up versions of these, both as like troop carrier palanquin types or as heavy artillery with like ballistas and catapults on top of them. And I mean like full armor. But I really wanted to get one printed off and painted up soon. I've mentioned before, I've always liked Ganesha Games' Paleo Diet game, which had all these different random action tables for various Paleolithic, prehistoric mammals to hunt with a band of cavemen. And it's just a fun game. And I keep thinking to myself, well, even though I have full armies and, you know, war bands of cavemen for that game, why not just go with a bunch of, you know, proto-human simian warriors that are out there trying to gather the necessities for a hunt. May not be a mammoth, but mammoths are overdone anyway. You don't see these guys very often, period. And not only do they have a platyabelodon, both unarmored and armored, but they've got the Dinotherium also, which is similar, except I want to say he's got like weird, he's got a shorter trunk for one, he's got like tusks and like on the bottom or something. Just weird Pleistocene type mammals, if I remember my epochs correctly. But there's just a ton. And then there's like regular cavalry, which is all guys on saber-toothed cats. And they have armor. And then there's just plain cats. You want to have a bunch of Smilodon type monsters running around. There's just a ton there. Like I said, if you haven't had a chance to take a look, I strongly recommend it. Hopefully I can have some of this stuff painted off before the end of the month, because I keep printing and printing and then I never get around to painting. And I can't think of many monkeys that I have painted in the past. Sadly, I was hoping for a bonus Dragon Trappers Lodge would have thrown in back when they did one of their Mystics sets. I don't remember if it was when this guy came out or one of the later Magic ones. They had a chimpanzee in shirt and pants with a fez and a sword. And I'm like, that guy needs some action. And I printed one. I don't know where I put it. I guess I can just download the file again. But yeah, everybody needs access to fez-wearing, you know, monkeys. So, as I said, we'll have that link down below. Take a look if you guys haven't had a chance. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff, as always, from Dragon Trappers Lodge. Very unique models, very big models. That Stone God is going to absolutely stomp all over this poor Platybelodon. And I mean, he's pretty good sized as it is. And if you're in the mood for funky, historically interesting, prehistoric animals, I don't think you can go wrong with this. Even my son was like, oh, that's a Platybelodon. So yeah, he was down with this as well. He's down with the lodge. So I'm going to let you guys go. And with that said, take a look, like I said, and hopefully they'll have something you like. This has been Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.